Hi, Liz here from The Holistic Vegan, and today I'm gonna show you what I got at the Cerritos Farmers Market here in Southern California. This next few days, week, however long I feel, I'm gonna be doing mostly a liquid and juice based diet with different herbal beverages added. And yeah, I just want to show you some of the stuff that I get when I juice, because in my personal opinion, I juice a little bit differently than other people juice. I tend to not juice as many of the common high oxalate greens in my juices that you see, such as Swiss chard, spinach. I do use some kale. Not so much because I don't want to get too many oxalates, although I do think that is a concern because they bind with calcium and prevent mineral absorption, but mostly because I just don't like them in my juice as much, and I prefer the multi-dimensional flavors of getting a lot of herbs in my juice. So without further ado, I'm going to show you what I got at the farmer's market. Disclaimer: you're gonna hear a lot of plastic rustling, and I typically use reusable bags when I go to the farmer's market and don't get a bunch of plastic, but this video is being filmed during the COVID-19 pandemic, and here in California there's restrictions at the farmer's market that says that the farmers, they like bag things up for you, and they, bag in all brand new plastic bags. Yeah, just excuse the rustling and excuse the amount of plastic. It's not a usual situation for me. Anyway, so the first thing I have is celery, and this celery, you will notice, does not look like the celery that you get at the grocery store at all. It also has flowers on the top of it. So celery is an herb, okay, here's the thing. Vegetable is not really a thing. It's like a culinary term. So we're not gonna even worry about calling things a vegetable or not calling things a vegetable. But celery is an herb, and people's sort of like the trend around celery juicing is interesting because it's basically an herbal protocol. I know that it's common for people to talk about having celery juice straight and on an empty stomach. And while I don't have any issue with that, if that works for you and you enjoy doing that, I don't think that there's any issue at all in combining celery with other green juices. But it's like super concentrated when it's leafy like this, and you don't need tons and tons of it like when it's the crispy, more watery celery that you get at the grocery store. This is just a organic head lettuce. It's probably just like an iceberg variety actually, but it's a lot darker, the leaves, than what you would normally see on an iceberg. It's gonna just be really like watery in the juice, like just add volume. What juice would be complete without having some carrots around? I don't do a ton of carrot juice, but I do like it with turmeric and lemon and cinnamon when I want something like a little bit more, with a little more sustenance. I definitely juice the greens, but I won't juice like them all in one juice. Like I'll maybe juice like this much carrot greens in one juice that's like 16 to 32 ounces. So these carrot greens will like go into like 4 or 5 juices. This one is definitely on the more like interesting side of life. You don't see this at the grocery store at all. You do see it at the grocery store in your superfood section as like a powdered green. This is moringa, and moringa grows like crazy in places like Southern California and other places that have like a warm climate. It grows on a tree that grows extremely fast and very prolifically, and you can take leaves off of it and then leaves will come back. Like think that it died if you get like a frosty winter, but it actually will come back and sometimes like grow another tree the next year when it comes back. So it's a really sturdy plant. Anyways, the leaves they don't taste bitter, they taste spicy. So like if you think like how arugula tastes, but like more peppery and radishy than that. Anyways, again, with juicing it, I don't put like a ton in every juice. Like it's more of an herb kind of idea than like a big amount of greens. So like maybe like that much in one juice is good. For me, moringa has so many nutrients. The next thing that we have is the biggest bunch of peppermint on earth. I'm a little concerned that I'm going to be able to juice all of this, even if I put mint in everything, which I do kind of sometimes put mint in everything when I juice, but this is a lot of mint. I might end up dehydrating some of this to use for like peppermint tea. This is another green that is from the person that I get the moringa from. So that stand in the Cerritos Farmers Market specializes in Asian produce, and they have so many varieties, and they're super knowledgeable actually about all the different greens. Pennywort is also extremely nutritious. You can put a little bit more of this in juices than some of the other greens. Like this one has a lot more of a mild taste, so I might use like a solid like quarter of this bunch in one juice. Next ingredient, we finally get something kind of traditional. Very like, what is she juicing? I don't have any of that by where I live. Well, if you have a garden, grow some of it. I don't have a garden. I have this patio that we're sitting on, but I'm lucky to have the Cerritos Farmers Market to take care of me. I prefer the dinosaur kale for juicing than I do like the curly kale, because I feel like it's more concentrated and just like yields a better juice. The curly kale sometimes is really dry and just doesn't really have a lot in it. I know people like who will juice like a whole head of kale in one go and be like, why are my juices so nasty? They're nasty because you're putting a whole head of kale in your juice. That's crazy pants. I don't even know if you really need the nutrition in kale concentrated that much at one time, like if your body can even do anything with that. So for me, like I juice about this much kale in one juice. The next herb we have is another one that's more traditional to see, and this one's cilantro. And I know with cilantro, that's an either like love it or hate it kind of herb. I personally love it. I could eat it as a salad. This is a huge bunch with the roots still attached. I plan to juice it roots and all. I'll give these a nice little scrub, but there's like traditional Zen Buddhist cooking in Japan that originates in Kyoto. There's like a whole area of the cooking that I've seen where they cook, leaf, stem, and root, and they talk about the area where the stem meets the root as being like a very highly nutritious, like concentrated area, which I don't know if that's true, but it sounds really good to me, and I plan to take advantage of that in my juice. We have a enormous bunch of Thai basil. I think that Thai basil is probably my favorite herb to add to juice. It's floral and it's green, and basil is like a nervine tonic, so it has a effect of being like a mood booster, but it also makes you really calm, and it can help with sleep, and I love everything about it. But I definitely recommend using basil in your juice. I get like the little organic honeydews, and then I do a pinch of cardamom, half a lime, like 1 to 2 cucumbers, and then a big bunch of the Thai basil, like maybe like this much Thai basil, and then a little bit of the moringa. And that is one of the best juices you will ever have. A recommendation when you go and get apples and pears at the farmer's market for juicing is, if you don't see a box right out that says like juicing apples or juicing fruit, ask them. Say, hey, do you have any smushy apples or pears with bad spots or anything that you're trying to get rid of, and they'll give them to you for cheaper. The ones that they have that they've pulled off of the shelves that are good for juicing. You just want to like try to use them really soon. Like these pears have seen better days, but they're perfectly good for juicing. These apples are not bad at all. I don't get a lot of fruit, honestly, like for juicing. I try to focus on the greens, but I will use a little bit of fruit for energy here and there. And so like this is, I don't know if you can see that, that's like all of the apples and pears that I'm gonna use throughout a week. However, one thing that I juice kind of obsessively is cucumbers. So this right here is 10 pounds of cucumbers. I don't even know if it will last me the full week, to be perfectly honest. I might end up having to get more cucumbers before the week is over. What would I do without cucumber juice? As you can see, these cucumbers are like a really different color. They're like a light pale white yellow. They're just like a different Asian variety. They're smooth on the outside. They don't have any like spines. So the last things that we have from the farmer's market are lemons. And actually, this is not just lemons. This is lemons, right? It's like a Eureka lemon, I think. And then this is actually a sweet lime. It looks like a lemon, but it's rounder, and it has like no acidity to it. It's basically tastes, I don't even know what it tastes like. It's super neutral. It's like slightly citrusy and really juicy and really sweet, and just, it's kind of sugary. Love grapefruits. I love grapefruit juice. I like to juice the grapefruits with the cucumbers, and then I put a scoop of some kind of spirulina in it, and that's like one of my all-time favorite, like 2-3 ingredient superfood juices. So these are my grapefruit stash. These are a marsh grapefruit, and they tend to be a little bit, they're definitely like bitter and sour. They're not a sweet ruby red grapefruit by any means. The last thing that I have is actually not from the farmer's market, but for me is essential this time of year when I'm juicing. And I find it to be a really economical way to get in some extra calories if you need them, and that is a watermelon. If you don't know how to pick a good watermelon, what you want to look for is this sunspot. So you're going to look for this nice area that's all yellow on your watermelon, which is its sunspot. It should be heavy for its size. This one definitely is. And it should sound hollow when you tap it. This is everything that I got for the week for juicing, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comment box below. I hope you found this information in this video informative, and have a beautiful day.